Welcome to the latest episode of KapVista Klips. Today we are here with Nick from Chirp. How are you?
Doing great. Thanks, Dan.
Awesome. I'm excited about the space you're in because I think it's a massive opportunity. The next 2 to 3 years, we're going to see some incredible companies emerge, and investors are investing into the AI space because they know that there's going to be a series of roll-ups and acquisitions, and there is an amazing opportunity to make a lot of money in a short window. So I'm excited to get into it. I want to find out more about Chirp and what you're doing, but let's start with you. Tell us about you, your background, how you got to this point, and what was the driver behind starting Chirp?
Yeah, thanks, Dan. So great to be here. Nick from Chirp. I think I was exposed to AI agents in 2023. So before they became, buzzwords and everyone talking about it, I was up in Singapore working with a group, Temasek, the Sovereign Wealth Fund, and the project I was leading was to build agents to create financial plans for the mass affluent, so 1 to 5 million in net assets, who are typically underserved by traditional financial planners. And so was looking at these agents, and I'm like, this is quite incredible. And came back to Sydney in 2024 to start Chirp because I'm a founder. It's my fourth startup, and I just love the 0 to 1 or the 0 to 10. So that's sort of the short background. I think the longer background prior to that, I set up a company called Identity. We were very early in blockchain, 2014. So I founded that company and took it through to listing on the ASX in 2018. So very short period of time. Good result for a lot of my investors. My early investors, I think there were 40x their invested. Wow. So and that was again slightly ahead of the curve with blockchain. I was looking at more regulated financial industry. So Identity was helping banks combat financial crime, money laundering, by helping them share sensitive data. And that was really, for me, the opening to basically understanding the importance of data. And really, when you think about Chirp, like our hypothesis, which is that sales data lives now in 7 different places, call recorders, email, text message, etc. And there's a data problem that needs to be solved, and it's just I was solving it for banks, and now I'm solving it for fast moving startups and SMBs. So so always been in technology, but slightly ahead of the curve, and I think this is why I'm super excited about where at the space of AI at the moment.
Yeah, exactly. So you've got a really good background, really strong, and a proven track record of returning 40x to your founders in your last company. This is a really good pedigree to back, and you're building a company that's in a space that's a rocket ship. There's a lot of eyeballs in this space. There's a lot of interest. There's a lot of money throwing in, and there's going to be the same sort of returns, if not bigger, out of AI. And I'm confident in that. I'm seeing it every single day.
I think it'll be much bigger. Yeah, this is it. I've never seen a tech transformation like this in my life, and I just was off the back of .com in 2001 was when I sort of left school, and this is phenomenal. I've never seen anything like this. It's the most exciting time to be a founder, in my opinion.
Yeah, there's a lot of people that are saying that this is similar to the .com, to blockchain, to Web3, but I don't think it is. I think this is something completely different. This is the way that technology is being implemented. New companies are popping up. There's a lot of money flowing in, but it is rapidly changing how we work, how we live. There's even people that use AI for their day-to-day tasks. Like, this is not just on the corporate end. This is society is fundamentally changing, and the AI is the catalyst. It is change. This is a different revolution. So tell us about Chirp. What have you built? What does it do? And what are the milestones that you've achieved?
So Chirp, the core problem that Chirp is trying to solve is that most people's CRMs, so your customer relationship management system, are completely stuffed. The data is terrible. The data hygiene's terrible. They don't do what they're meant to do, like help you predict what deals you're going to close, manage your customer relationships better. So there's a fundamental problem that the CRM is not being utilized properly. And our belief at Chirp is that that is a data problem, first and foremost. Secondly, it's a human problem, which is that humans don't like updating CRMs. So what Chirp is trying to do is collect all that data that exists wherever it lives, call transcripts, emails, WhatsApp, etc. Process that data, and then with a human in the loop, it's very important the human's in the loop, instruct an agent to update the CRM, and in future that will be generate a proposal or send a bottle of wine to Dan, whatever that sort of post meeting or a flow is. With the Chirp's agents will do that. So very much focused on SMBs to lower mid market, and very much focused on HubSpot at the moment. We do have Salesforce connectivity and Attio, but most of our design partners and customers are using HubSpot. So so that's really the core problem that Chirp's trying to solve. I think in terms of our longer term vision, we're very close to having everything we do in a professional context recorded or transcribed in some way. There's already a pin now, deployed pin and limitless, that will record 24/7. So there's about to be a huge data explosion, and that is going to create issues for all of these tools. So ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini, DeepSeek. There is going to be so much data, and the challenge to properly use these large language models is going to be around how that data is collected, processed, transformed, and then provided to a large language model in a secure way, because that's another big issue that we see out there. So our longer term vision really is to be the interface, the conversational interface for client facing teams, and you will use Chirp first. You'll go to Chirp to ask a question or to do an action. So that's really our longer term vision.
Yeah, and I completely agree. There's copious amounts of data, and there's about to be more. But how is it used? How is it cleaned up? How is it optimized? That is the $1 billion question. Because
That's right.
and coming from startups and the growth stage, there is a lot of inefficiencies that AI will fix, and Chirp can slot straight into to help. There's
the other point I'd make on that is a good call out, is that Chirp's designed for non-technical users, so you don't need to build an agent, and you don't need to write your own prompts, and you don't need to drag and drop a workflow. So Chirp is pre-built in terms of the agents, and also it's conversational, so it learns over time. So as you start to use Chirp more, it starts to learn more about your process, what you like doing, what works, and can start to suggest things that will work. So there's a long-term memory in there as well. So and that's really how we create a data moat, which is that because Chirp knows you better than anyone else, the switching away from Chirp once you're in there is a lot harder, because all of that knowledge and that retained data that exists, it becomes a data moat for us.
Yeah. Now, this might be, I'd love to get your opinion. Where do you see AI going in the next sort of 5 years? What do you see? Because you're at the forefront of technology. We're at the forefront of blockchain. Where do you see it going, and how do you see it integrating for people who are interested in the space, who aren't necessarily familiar, but want to start, dipping their toe in it, and potentially Chirp might be a good fit? But where do you see the industry going, and how does Chirp follow along with that?
Yeah, it's a great one to consider. If you believe Sam Altman, who was on Bloomberg a few weeks ago, saying that we might be 12 months away from humanoid robots walking down the street, which I think is quite a sort of crazy thing to get your head around. We've got a house view that's sort of maybe a little bit more, I don't know, realistic. But I think in 12 months' time, the big focus for us is the human to machine interface.
Yeah.
And so we are going to have machines, whether they're humanoid robots or other types of machines, that need to be instructed by humans. So that human to machine interface, I think, is going to be the big thing over the next 12 months to look at. And so Chirp's view here is it's conversational. At the moment, we have a chat interface via web, but it's not far off to think about sort of devices that you can assist. They could be glasses. I've actually got a pair of the Meta Ray-Bans that I use internally that can record things, take photos. There are other devices. Johnny Eve, who is the Apple design chief design officer, is now working with OpenAI on some new hardware device. So I think that's what's going to be interesting over the next 12 months, is what is the hardware device that solves the human to machine interface. In terms of these predictions around artificial general intelligence, which are basically machines that can think on their own, it's not for me to predict. I think we're just going to see how that plays out. But what I can tell you is that our agents now, the agents that Chirp has built, are smart enough to understand your industry. So the idea of having vertical software, which is specific for, a vet, for example. So I've built a traditional user interface that a vet will understand. We think that is dead now, because agents are now smart enough. If you tell an agent to be a vet, it can generally do most things and be a reasonably good vet. Obviously can't operate on animals, but can understand what medications to prescribe and how to update forms and everything like that. So that is why Chirp very much is a horizontal play at the moment. So CRMs typically are horizontal. They apply to most industries, and Chirp is the same because our agents can be quite specific. If you come along and say, I'm a real estate agent and I sell, apartments, the agent can understand that. So I think to come back to your point about, the transformation at the moment, how transformational this is, I'm not suggesting that all these vertical SaaS applications will die overnight, but it's definitely not something that I would be investing in moving forward. I would be cautious of investing in vertical specific applications. This is a real controversial point for a lot of investors.
Yeah. Perfect. Okay, tell us about the raise. How much you're raising? What's the use of funds for? And I know that you're heading to the US at the end of this week, so there will be opportunities for investors to catch up with you while you're there.
Yeah, sure. So we are raising 1.3 million US, which is about 2 million Australian. And the use of funds really are to support our launch in September. So we launched our alpha in January this year, 2025, went into StartMate Accelerator. We had 300 on our wait list and about 80 design partners through that alpha. And during StartMate, we made a decision based on what we saw. So in those 300 discussions, which happened over a 3-month period, we were observing that sales reps today are copying and pasting call transcripts and other information into ChatGPT and asking what to do next. So they're already doing that today.
Yep.
And 80% of the workforce now is Gen Z and millennials in sales. So they're used to having a personalized experience. I'm at the tail end of millennials. So I'm sort of in that group, and I think you probably are as well. We can probably just understand, that when you log into Instagram, there's an algorithm that shows you stuff that it thinks you want to see.
Yeah.
And so users are demanding that type of experience. So our alpha was very much a what I'm calling a Web 2 kind of interface, which is more of a traditional web form. And we quickly realized that we have to be where the user is, and that's in a conversational interface. So 2 months in to StartMate, we started to redesign our interface, and sort of our new interface is akin to a ChatGPT or Claude experience, but it's very, very focused on sales. So there's a lot of heavy sort of modifications to what we call context around what you sell or what industry you're in, etc. And so that's what we're launching back into our beta group, and then we'll go public in general availability in September. So predominantly for that, we're calling it a pre-seed round because it is pre-revenue, but we do have product in market with customers. So we're really sort of at that, I suppose, tipping point where we could go to $1 million in ARR very quickly. It could be 3 months. One of the other companies we're in StartMate with just hit $1 million ARR, and that's 4 months. So it's highly likely that we will follow that trend, but this raise is very much to support that. There's 2 things for our launch that we are investing in terms of our channels. One of those is marketplaces. HubSpot Marketplace is a big one. Just because you're on the marketplace doesn't mean that people automatically find you. So you still need to have an investment in paid, ads and also placement. So there's still an investment there. And then the other channel is our influencers, which are predominantly LinkedIn influencers who post and talk about how good Chirp is. So those are typically paid promotions, not always, but generally paid. So they're the 2 channels that we are aiming to invest in, and we've identified them as low CAC channels. So the thing we're working on at the moment is how do we deliver the aha moment quickly to users? Because it's one thing to get them in, aha moment, they understand the power of Chirp, which we're doing through our opportunity score, and then getting to the utility moment, which for us is when they start doing repeat deals. So when they start using Chirp for repeat deals. So those are the sort of metrics that we'll be tracking once we launch.
Okay, amazing. I'm not going to take up too much more of your time. What I'll do is anybody who's watching this episode that wants to find out more, please reach out to my team and we'll connect you through to Nick. By the time this video is out, he will be in the US doing meetings with investors. So if you are interested, we can connect you straight away. And if there's the schedules match, then he'd be able to meet you in person. But this is a very exciting opportunity. As I mentioned, the AI space is changing rapidly. There's a huge opportunity there. Investors see it. Investors get it. They know that big things are coming. So if you're interested, please let me know. We'll connect you through to Nick. But thank you very much for jumping on. It was great to talk to you.
No, it was great. And just one thing to close for your audience. I think that the big mistake that you can make as an investor at the moment is doing nothing, because this is going to be, in my mind, a rising tide lifts all ships. I definitely think Chirp, is in the right place at the right time with the right people, and it's about getting on rather than just waiting in this case. Exactly.
What's the quote? Indecision kills more than the wrong decision. So
look at Bitcoin. I reckon everybody's sitting there going, "I wish they were in Bitcoin." Earlier. So it's going to be the same with AI.
Exactly.
It's just that we're building real businesses. So
exactly. All right. Perfect. Thank you very much.
Appreciate it.
Bye.